Okay, so the NRLW Grand Final preview is just around the corner. It's the undercard to the main event, which is the NRL Grand Final. The Newcastle Knights play the Gold Coast Titans in Sydney as part of that Grand Final double header. I think it's a great way to end the season. Have that double header final. It's a great way to showcase the women's game. But let's have a look at the game itself. So Newcastle, defending champions, minor premiers. And they did beat a very fancied Brisbane side. They backed up their credentials from last season. They've come a long way since their wooden spoon season. Admittedly, there were 2 seasons last year because the 2021 season was obviously played a year late. But they have backed up their credentials. They've built well as an organisation. They've recruited well. And the Southwell sisters are absolutely crucial to this team's success. Now, the Gold Coast Titans got the wooden spoon last year. Very similar to Newcastle in that respect. Wooden spoon is following season making a grand final. Can they repeat history and can they go on and win? Now, the Gold Coast Titans obviously shut down the Sydney Roosters, and all the Gold Coast Titans wins have come in very, very close games. They like the game to be close. They like it to be unsettled and stop-start. And I think if they are to win, because I think this is very close. This is a very close call. I think the Knights are favourites, but it is a close call. If the Titans are to achieve victory, they've got to target both Southwell sisters in defence. So when Gold Coast have the ball, they have to target their channels. Now, Hannah Southwell tackle all day. It's Jessie Southwell they're going to have to really target, put extra pressure on Roche in the halves. And I think that's the key to victory, is forcing Roche to do more kicking than she wants to do. And also force the younger of the Southwell sisters to do more tackling than she wants to do. And that will tire them out. They did a very, very good job against the Sydney Roosters. They really exhausted the Roosters' spine, which then ultimately frustrated the Roosters' spine. So they were less effective in attack. And they they shackled the Roosters. Now, yeah, the Roosters were missing some key players. I mean, Jess Surgis is obviously a massive loss with the ball carrying skills and the ball running, and forcing Isabel Keller to do more work, and so therefore, and really targeting Millie Boyle and making her do double the tackles she would normally do, if not treble the tackles she would normally do in a game. So they targeted key players to frustrate and exhaust them. They had a good, sound game plan. Target key ball carriers on the defensive side of the game, key creative players on the defensive side. So when it does come to attack, they're more fatigued. They're under more pressure because they're fatigued, and they make mistakes. So that, I think, is going to be the Titans have got to basically replay that same game plan with a few adjustments. They've got to have good kick pressure. And they've got to really restrict the time and space that the Knights' creative players are going to have. But that then relies on them having an equal battle in the pack. And I think the forward pack, I think it favours the Knights. So they're going to have to try and unsettle them in some way, shape or form. If that means upsetting the flow of the game, disrupting that flow of the game a little bit, maybe try and increase their pace of the play the ball, their ruck speed. They're going to have to try something, but the basic principle is when they have the ball, they have to force the key players for the Knights to do more defensive duties by running channels and tiring them out. I think that's how they're going to have to do it. They did it expertly against the Roosters. They put more pressure on key players to raise their game. They were unable to do that, and they kept targeting certain players defensively. Even really good defensive players, they were targeting them defensively. They're going to have to do exactly the same against this Knights side if they are to win. But I think the Knights will win it on paper, but in practice, if it's a tight game, and if the Titans can keep it a tight game, because the Knights like scoring points in bunches, but at the same time, they can also concede points in batches as well. Look at the Broncos semi-final. As an example, they were in a commanding position. They got out to a quick lead, and then they suddenly conceded a hat load of points and put themselves under pressure by overplaying. That could also play into the Titans' hands. So if it's a close game, I think the Titans win. They like close nail-biting games. They like that kind of pressure situation. If they allow the Knights to get a bit of a head of steam and get a lead, they're going to be chasing, which then goes in the Knights' favour to a certain extent. However, the Knights can concede points in batches. So it's going to be an interesting one, but I'm going for the Knights by 10. That's my prediction. I'm probably going to be wrong, but I think it's going to be a fantastic final. But at the same time, while I'm favouring the Knights by 10 points, I think this is actually, on an actual looking at it and how the teams have played to end the season, too close to call. This could go to golden point, and that is too close to call, which then the focus goes on the goal kicking, which could be the difference. And women's game compared to the men's game, the percentages of successful kicks is about 10% lower, so goal kicking could prove crucial as well. We shall see how it plays out, but I'm thinking if it's done in regulation, I think the Knights will do it by 10. If it's not done in the regulation, it's gonna be a Titans golden point win. So there we go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. How do you think the final is going to play out? I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. But for me, for now, it is goodbye.